Before we can actually get started programming, we need to understand a little bit more about how our computer works. In particularly, we want to focus on how does a computer run a program, or even more specifically, how does a computer run a Python program? Because in computer science, there's two different types of programming languages. You have interpreted programming languages and you have compiled programming languages. Interpreted programming languages are usually easier to implement because of one simple fact, and that's because writing a compiler that works well is really hard to do, actually. Not only that, but there's no need to run a compilation stage, which can allow you to execute code on the fly. Compiled languages, in comparison, they're faster in performance because the compiler converts your program into the native code on the target machine, which makes it faster. So an interpreted language is a high-level programming language that is run and executed by an interpreter. A compiled language, on the other hand, is a high-level programming language whose code is first converted to machine code by a compiler, and from there, that returned machine code is then passed into an executor, which is just another program for running the code. So Python is an interpreted programming language. An example of a compiled programming language would be something such as Java. We need to actually get the Python interpreter on our computer to actually run our code, because the Python interpreter is basically the instructions that tell your computer how to read, interpret, and act based on the Python program. Because a program is basically just a step-by-step list of instructions that tell the computer how to behave. So in order to actually understand those steps, the computer kind of needs to be able to read Python, and the interpreter allows the computer to do just that. If you're watching this specific lecture, chances are you don't have the ability to install third-party software onto your computer. This is where the Cloud9 IDE comes in. So an IDE is an acronym short for Integrated Development Environment, and basically it's a fancy term given to this idea of a text editor. All it is a place to write code. Now, normally for this course we would teach you how to install the JetBrains PyCharm Integrated Development Environment, but if you're watching this one, chances are you're not able to install third-party software onto your computer, and that's not an issue. We're going to be using Cloud9, which is just an online editor, and it's super powerful too. So Cloud9 comes pre-installed with Python, so we don't even have to worry about installing the interpreter. However, we do have to kind of clean up our workspace a little bit. So there's two things we have to do. The first thing we have to do is we have to set the Python version. This course utilizes Python version 3.4.3, so we actually have to go into the settings in the Cloud9 dashboard and change it to version 3. The second thing we have to do is just clean up our workspace. We want to delete all of the miscellaneous files in there that we don't actually need. Let's now head over to the Cloud9 website. You can get to their website by simply Googling Cloud9. So let's just Google Cloud9. And it's this first result, your development environment in the cloud. Their URL is c9.io. And when you get to their website, you'll be greeted with a page that looks very similar to this, only up in the top right corner it'll probably say sign up, and it won't say sign out or dashboard. These are only up there because I'm logged in. You can go ahead and sign up. You will have to enter a credit card number. It's completely free, however they use the credit card number to verify your identity. You can also scroll through and look through everything that they have. They have a ton of cool features that you can utilize. You might not understand what they are right now, but as you get further on in computer science, you'll definitely like these features. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to my dashboard. Now the dashboard is where all of your workspaces are listed. These are where you can view all your projects. Each one of these is its own separate virtual machine, and you can do whatever you want in each one. So to walk you through this step by step, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Create New Workspace. So enter a name for your workspace. I'm just going to call this test-python-c9. You can go ahead and describe it if you want. You don't have to, though. You won't probably won't see this option right here, so you can just ignore that. Always keep it to public. If you have a GitHub repository you want to clone, you can enter the URL here, but that's probably a little advanced. You don't need to worry about that. Now, under where it says choose a template, this course is teaching you Python, so you can probably assume you want to go with Python, so just click that, and then hit Create Workspace. So we are in our editor. This is Cloud9. This is your IDE. This is your place to write code. And in the next lesson, we're actually going to get started using this. So the first thing we want to do is we want to set the version of Python that is best suited for our computer. So there's two ways to do this. If you're on Mac, you can hit Command, comma, and it will open this up. And we want to go to Python support. And if you're on a Windows, you can hit Control, comma, and it will open the same page. So right here, you'll see Python version. Right now, it's set to Python 2 by default. We want Python 3. And that's that. So just close out of that. So now whenever you run a Python script, it's going to run it using the Python 3 compiler. The second thing we need to do is clean up our workspace. We don't need any of these files or folders over here. So just click on this one, and then shift click up to this one, need to download, just right click and hit delete, yes to all, and now we have our blank workspace. This is where we're going to put all our files. We're going to organize it nice and neatly, and just create a nice development environment. So over here we have our file browser. This is where we can create new folders and files. So I'll just make one. I will call this main.py. And then this, I'll just double click on it, and now we have a Python file right over here. So I can just go ahead and type this in. You don't need to understand how this works, just hit run. And down here, we see we get hello as our output. And you can see over here we are in fact running Python 3. So that's Cloud9 in a nutshell. So basically all you have to worry about, over here you have your file browser, you have your text editor, and then down at the bottom you have your command line. And that's that.